Welcome back to Celebrity Radio. It's Alex Belfield talking to some of the world's biggest stars and some of my favourite people. And there's a brand new magic show on the way in the West End. It's got world-class magicians who are going to perform these wonderful feats of magic and illusion. Death-defying escapology, grand stage illusions, state-of-the-art technology. And it's all going to happen from the 24th of July through August 29th at the brand new, beautifully restored Noel Theatre. Jamie Allen joins us on the show, who's one of these stars. How are you, Jamie?
I'm very well. Thanks ever so much for having me on.
It's time we had a great magic show in the West End, isn't it?
It's been so long since there's been a big show. I mean, when I was a kid, Paul Daniels came into the Savoy, and that was a big deal when I was young, a long time ago. And now, I can't remember the last time a show on this scale. I mean, we had Hans Klock a few years ago, great magician, big fan of his, but Impossible is something else, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. Never been part of an ensemble show before. I've always done my own tours, my own full evening show. And it's only because of our director, Anthony Owen, that I agreed and said, sure, I mean, this guy's got a good vision for it, and I think that we're going to surprise some people.
I think there was a turning point about 3 years ago, and I noticed this in Las Vegas, where magic went from being sort of big hair and lots of pointing and pouting to actually just being real guys, having fun, being themselves, doing great illusions. You can't sort of do all that big music, fakery, camp stuff anymore. It doesn't seem to work, does it?
No, I mean, you can use theatrics, and of course you can always excite people with the score and stuff, and this being a West End production, it has elements of that, but it's not, but it's done in a different way. It's very contemporary, and and it doesn't take itself too seriously in places, and I think that that's what magic is more about. It's just having fun, trying to reignite people with the childhood, make them feel like they believe in magic for a moment. That's what it's all about, really, not about how it's done and overinflated egos.
Exactly. I think we're probably about the same age, and like you, I grew up with Paul Daniels when they were magicians. Seems now there's different elements of being a magician. There's illusionists, there's mentalists, there's guys who almost kill themselves trying to escape from boxers. There's different categories now. You've all got your own thing, haven't you?
Yeah, we do. I mean, I do stuff with technology nowadays to try, not in an attempt to appear futuristic, but just to try and do stuff with things that are relevant to people in their everyday lives now, because technology is such a big part of our lives. And everybody in the show has different skill sets. We've got Chris Cox, who's a mind reader, who says he can't read minds, which is kind of a good take on it. And Catherine with the psychological edge, and we've got Ali Cook with the big illusions, and Louis de Matos, who's a giant in our industry amongst magicians, who's doing some big scale stuff in the show, and Damien O'Brien and others, and the list goes on. And they're great guys, and I'm really excited to be part of it. And everybody has their own identity, very much.
And I guess for you doing this in the West End, there's no greater compliment. I have to ask then, why you, Jamie? Why did they pick you when there's hundreds of people in the magic circle they could have chosen instead?
Well, I think I became noticed amongst magicians when I first did my routine with the iPads, which has always been one of my signature bits. And I got a lot of attention for that trick when I came up with it, because at the time it was bang on message when it came out. It was very much of a time. I still do it. I've changed it a little, and we're doing it in Impossible. And because I work with technology, it just set me aside from everybody else. I mean, there's only 5 magic tricks you can do, isn't there? You can make things vanish, appear, disappear. You can levitate something. You can penetrate an object. You can break something, put it back together. And I think that because of that, there's only so many styles of magic, so it's very difficult if you're organising a bill of magicians to find people that are different enough from each other. And because I did the technology, I suppose, lucky for me, I guess I was a shoo-in for that.
What I love about your act, and the reason I asked to speak to you today, is that you make it look so seamless, and anybody who's tried to do anything on an iPhone or an iPad realises press the wrong button, the whole thing closes down, press 2 buttons and the thing bursts into flames. I mean, it's dangerous what you do, because you are relying on that playing its part, and of course it's an inanimate object, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, in the old days, the showbiz saying to not work with children and animals, and I would add technology to that now.
Yeah.
Because there are times, you have to tame it, and you have to, hope it works, and you have to know what you're going to do. I mean, the first time I did the routine with the iPads live, actually, was on the BBC One show. I hadn't put it in the show yet, so the first time I ever got to test it was for all those millions of people, and to say myself and my technical wizard guy that I work with, Tommy, were worried about that was an understatement, because I thought, well, what happens if the camera comes to us and it doesn't come on?
Yeah. It's terrifying.
And it hasn't failed yet. But I don't think it's about getting these things to work. It's about getting them to work reliably.
Yeah, and then, of course, you've got to have an act that if it does go wrong, you're absolutely comfortable and you can get out of it. And that's what you guys are great at. When did you become comfortable on stage and that the magic wasn't bigger than you?
Well, it was always because I was a kid doing it. I mean, my parents are in show business, and all of my mum and dad's friends, no, not magicians, but my mum was a singer, my dad was a songwriter, and all my friends were comedians, and I was always around show business. So that was more about, I always wanted to be in show business and happened to be a magician. I love magic, but I started off when I was 8 years old as a patter act, and I was always chatting, and the tricks, I was doing more comedy when I was a kid, which I realised as I got older that they were just laughing because I was a kid, and then you realise you have to actually be funny. You know, I had a grounding on that basic cabaret magic when I was young, working in, you know, hard places, and when you start to work nicer stages and have the theatrics, you always can go back to that skill set. If anything goes wrong, you know, throw me a pack of cards and I can keep going.
When we look at this show, as you say, it's on a huge scale. Is it the biggest scale that you've seen in this country? Help me with it. I'm coming to see it in a week's time, so I can't describe it.
It is. I mean, because they've tried to bring in, they've tried to make a real mesh between the theatricality of the West End show and trying to keep the magic raw. But they have a great set design. It's very unusual. It's not like any magic show I've ever seen, certainly. Certainly in terms of its production value. So, I mean, I'm really excited. We haven't seen the set yet. You know, we've been working with models of it in the rehearsal studio, and the stuff is going in on Monday. So we're all really excited to actually see it working for the first time. I don't want to say too much about it because, you know, I want it to be a surprise for everybody.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. What I love about you guys now, especially the younger guys, is the speed in which you deliver this stuff. There's no hanging about anymore, is there? You can't buy time. The audience just won't sit through it.
No, because now we live in a generation of people clicking on YouTube, and if it hasn't impressed them in the first 30 seconds, they turn it off. I mean, I put some of my videos up on YouTube. Like I had a hologram routine up on YouTube that I'm kind of known for, and I refused to take the patter off the start. I thought, well, if people don't want to sit through it, then they don't get to watch it. But most of the time, in these things, yeah, you've got to impress them straight away, and you know, it's amazing the speed in which people live their lives. That's been reflected in live theatre.
Yeah. And as for you as an act, obviously this is tremendous. If you Google you see you've done every show, TV shows, you've done live shows, touring. Is there still a good business for magic in the UK, or is it all moved to Las Vegas?
Well, it's gotten bigger over the last few years, and I'm sure that people like Darren Brown have had an influence on this, although he doesn't bill himself as a magician. He's certainly the same audience that we're looking for. And I mean, I've been touring my own show for the last 3 years, and it takes time. I mean, the first year we didn't do great, and the next year we did better, and the next year we did better, and it takes time to build up an audience with these things. And magic has come around again in the UK now. It's kind of cool. When I was a kid, I mean, when we were young, magic was not a cool thing to do. You know, I used to be wary of telling anybody I was a magician because you would be ridiculed.
Well, there's also that thing that in the old days you were a bit creepy. I mean, there was something a bit strange about magicians because they just look a bit strange. You can't get away with that anymore, can you?
No, you can't. It certainly had a different look back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of. Do you remember Doug Henning when you were young? You know,
yes.
We watched the guy. I thought he was fabulous, and I loved it because there was a certain kindness and a certain honesty to the way he presented his magic. And I would say he was probably one of my biggest inspirations when I was a kid, but not his dress sense.
No, absolutely not. And then there's people like Lance Burton who did the Royal Variety. I remember seeing him as a kid and just thinking, my God, you're brilliant. There's nothing more thrilling, is there, than seeing somebody do something new and push the boundaries to a new level. It's when you see somebody like yourself with the iPads doing something brand new. It's whether it's done quicker and faster. It's the new stuff that's going to thrill.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to come at the art. I mean, I don't think there's anything new, and I know we were talking about this, and it's very difficult nowadays to find a new idea, but what you can do is try and open people's eyes to a different way of looking at it, and approach the whole concept differently. You know, you said it yourself about how you've got to approach it with a different pace, and you can... I look to the past, to great magicians like Howard Thurston, David Devant, Harry Houdini. There were people in the past that had these great ideas and formulas that are still good today. They just need reinventing and reworking, and using modern technology is a good way sometimes to go about that.
You've got a terrific act, and I can't wait to see the show on opening night. It's the brand new magic show. It's coming into the West End from the 24th of July through the 29th of August. It's in the beautifully restored Noel Coward. Have you been in the theatre yet and seen it?
Oh, I have, yes. We went in, at the moment it was announced, all of us magicians were down the theatre just checking out what could and couldn't be done.
Yeah, because, I mean, there are logistics, and that's the other thing that amazes me about magic shows. The stuff that's going on behind the scenes is far more thrilling than what's going on in front.
Nothing is truer than of this show as well, because when you come into an old cat, it's a beautifully intimate theatre, but it's a lot bigger than you think. It's an illusion in itself. It's a bit of a TARDIS in there, 'cause it's got 3 balconies. So when you come in initially, you think, oh, this is very small, but I mean, it's stacked up very high.
Yeah.
And the stage is not too wide. It's very intimate, and you'll be amazed at what we managed to get on that stage if you saw what was backstage. That's really where the show goes on, as you say.
Are there any animals in the show? Because I know that's always hysterical when you got the odd giraffe walking around backstage.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want to say.
Come and join the Impossible people. They're the top magicians in the UK for 5 weeks from the 24th of July. It's happening at the Noel Theatre in the West End. I can't wait to see it, and Jamie Allen is our top guest today. Great to talk to you. I hope to see you soon.
I hope to see you. Thanks ever so much.